How is it going, guys? This is a video that I have owed you for a while now. We installed the AlphaRex headlights on this car ages ago before we took it to SEMA. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, definitely check it out. These are the best aftermarket headlights that are currently available for this car. Granted, I only know of one other option. That statement still rings true. If you're wanting to pick up some AlphaRex headlights or their tail lights, the trunk light bar, or their new fourth brake light, all of those are available on the Driven Media website. But the reason why we're revisiting this is because I never got around to, one, showing you how to properly level these headlights, and two, how to change the DRL from the standard white to an amber color, which is another unique feature of these headlights. And on top of that, I wanted to give you guys a comparison between the stock headlights and these headlights as far as light output goes. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. The first thing that you're gonna wanna do is find a wall. In our case, I'm gonna be using the garage door in front of the car. You wanna park about 25 feet away from it. Just make sure you're on level ground and not a huge slope. The only tools you need are a Phillips head screwdriver and possibly an 8mm wrench. Most of you will only need a Phillips head screwdriver. The only reason why I need a wrench is because I have oil cooler lines that are in the way of one of the adjustment screws on the driver's side. Now what I'm gonna do is actually take off the front bumper and one of the headlights to show you the adjustment screws on the back so you know exactly what you're gonna be looking for. Luckily, my bumper is currently just held in place with 2 pop clips and 1 bolt because I've been taking it on and off, so this should be rather easy to remove. Now, for those of you that are confused, you don't actually have to take your bumper off to make any adjustments to the headlight. You can access all of that just in the engine bay here. I'm just doing so you can get a better look at the adjustment screws. Plus, I'm gonna need to take this off anyway to swap the stock headlights back on so you guys can see the comparison. I've got the bumper off. We're gonna remove the passenger side headlight next. All right, I've got the headlight off of the car, so let's take a closer look at the back side of this thing to figure out what we need to mess with. On the back of the headlight, you're gonna see 2 adjustment screws, one on the bottom underneath this connector and one in the top corner. This one is used to adjust the projectors right and left, and this one is used to adjust the height. So we're gonna use this to make sure our headlights are level and we're not blinding everyone, and we'll use this one to ensure that our headlights are pointed directly straight ahead and not too far out or in. Now earlier I mentioned you can use an 8mm wrench, but most of you will use a Phillips head screwdriver, but not how you normally would. You're not just gonna stick the screwdriver into this slot and turn it because you're not gonna have enough room to do so once the headlights are installed. But instead, you can see a groove that leads directly to the outside of this screw that is slotted, and that is designed so that you can slide the screwdriver through that groove and turn it while also turning the screw, just like that. So let me show you how you access this once the headlight is back on the car. Now that you know what each adjustment screw does, let me show you how to access them in the engine bay. For the height adjustment, you can see the screw right there. I don't know if it's going to focus, but you can slide the screwdriver right in front of the fuse box, and that allows you to turn that adjustment screw to adjust the height. Now the screw for the left and right adjustment is hidden, but if you look right here behind the headlight, you can see this hole, and that's actually designed so you can slide a screwdriver down into the groove that I showed you so you gain access to that adjustment screw. I'm not gonna lie, this screwdriver is actually a little bit too short, so make sure you have a longer screwdriver. Over on the driver's side, I mentioned that my oil cooler lines are in the way of the height adjustment screw. I don't have enough room to stick the screwdriver in there, so that's why I need that 8mm wrench. Now that we know how to access those adjustment screws and what each one does, we can move on to the next step, which is measuring the height of your headlights. Now, this isn't something that I can just give you a measurement to go off of because every car is gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna depend on your wheels and tires and your suspension setup. So don't just go off of what mine is because yours may be different. So mine is about 25 inches. Again, don't go off of that. Actually go out and measure yours. My car is probably a little bit lower than most people's unless your car is absolutely slant. Let's go over to the wall and tape off a straight line that's 25 inches above the ground. All right, we're gonna take the tape measure, and 25 inches is right above the seam of the panel of the garage. So I'm gonna take a small piece of masking tape and put it right at that 25-inch mark. So now I have a guideline, at least for the right side. So I'm gonna take a longer piece of tape and try to make as straight of a line as possible out a little bit wider. Now we can do the left side. So I'll just start with a long piece this time since I know where it should be at. All right. Ideally, you'd want to use blue or green painter's tape just because it's a little bit easier to see, but that's all I had to work with. Now, one thing to note, my headlights came pointed pretty straight forward right out of the box as far as left and right adjustments, so I'm not gonna have to mess with that adjustment screw. But if you did find that your headlights were pointed a weird direction, what you'd wanna do is find the center point of the car, get that marked on the wall, and then measure the distance from the center point to the center of the headlight and mark that on the wall as well. And that's gonna give you a visual for when you turn the headlights on, you'll be able to see whether or not you need to move it left or right. But mine are good to go, so I'm not gonna mess with that today. We're just going to adjust the height because these headlights are pointed way too high and I'm blinding absolutely everybody. I've turned the shop lights off. Let me turn the headlights on so you guys can see how high they are pointed. You probably can't see the tape, but I'll walk over here and show you guys. So 25 inches is a little bit past, a little bit above my knee here, but you can see that the cutoff of my, at least the driver's side headlight, is above my waist. So that definitely needs to go down. The passenger side isn't as high, but it still needs to go down about 6 or 8 inches. So let's adjust this thing. I'm gonna work on the driver's side first since that's needing the most adjustment. I have to adjust it so far down. This is gonna take a little bit. Bear with me. All right, we're almost there. Right about there. So now I can take the Phillips head screwdriver and work on the passenger side. Right about there. Okay. Look at that. Let's walk over here and take a look at this. We can see that the cutoff is now right at the bottom of the tape we put on the garage door, right above the seam of the garage. So that is exactly where we wanted it. The driver's side used to be way up here, so we had to bring it all the way down. And now we are looking good. They're both even. These headlights are super bright. Also wanted to show you, look at this. Look at these patterns that these headlights produce on the ground in front of the car. Obviously not functional, but super cool and unique. We are good to go on the headlights. I remember when I first installed these, I was so excited, took them out for a drive, completely forgot to adjust them so they were pointed sky high. I was blinding everybody. I had so many people flash their brights at me, I felt like a complete idiot, but now they are properly adjusted, so that should no longer be an issue. So what we're gonna do next is compare the light output of the AlphaRex headlights to the stock headlights. So I'm gonna set the camera up in the middle, pointed at the garage. You're gonna see the output of the AlphaRex headlights first, since they're already on the car, and then I'm gonna swap to the stock headlights, and then I'll stack them on top of each other so you guys can see a side-by-side comparison so we can figure out which one's brighter. Here are the AlphaRex headlights. I'm gonna walk through here. I don't know if this is actually going to help with the actual comparison, but maybe you'll be able to see a difference with the light on my body instead of just the garage door. Now, everything is gonna stay exactly the same. I'm not gonna change where the camera is at or any of the settings in the camera. The only thing that's gonna change are the headlights. I've got the stock lights swapped back onto the car, and here they are. Let me walk through just like I did last time. But right off the bat, guys, I can already tell that the AlphaRex headlights are much brighter than the stock headlights, especially in the center of the beams in this area right here, which is where you want most of the light to be condensed, since that's what's gonna be projected further down the road so you can see further. You may also notice the color temperature difference. The stock lights have a bit of a warmer tone to them, whereas the AlphaRex headlights produce a cooler white tone. The stock lights, I don't know how well you can actually see this and if the camera picks it up, but it has a dead spot in the beam in these two areas, which is kind of weird. It's not gonna affect the performance really, but something to point out. I will say though, the stock lights do have a very nice uniform spread, but they're definitely not touching the light output of the AlphaRex headlights, which makes sense because the AlphaRex headlights have 6 individual projectors, whereas the stock lights just have 1. But hopefully you guys can see a difference. Again, I'm gonna put these right on top of each other so you guys can get a side-by-side comparison. And let me know what you guys think. So I've shown you how to properly adjust your headlights and the comparison between the light output of the stock headlights and the AlphaRex headlights. So now let me show you how to change your DRLs from the standard white to an amber color. It's actually fairly simple. Also, for anyone who's interested, these stock headlights are currently for sale. They have RGB DRLs and demonized retrofitted by Circuit Demon. So if you're interested, slide in my DMs, baby. To change your DRLs to amber, you're gonna look on the underside of each of the headlights. There's gonna be this box here that's held in with 4 Phillips head screws. We're gonna remove those screws. With those screws removed, we can carefully lift this cover off. Don't just rip it off because there's a circuit board that's connected to wiring inside. You're gonna wanna look for these 2 cables with black connectors on the ends here, and all you have to do is connect these 2 together. Like so, they'll click together, tuck it back in. Now we just need to reinstall the screws, install the headlight, and then we're gonna have amber DRLs. Let's get this bumper back on the car. Now, I only changed the DRL to amber on this passenger side because I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it better than the white. I haven't actually seen it in person before, so we are just gonna have to wait and find out. Let's turn the parking lights on to see these DRLs. Wait, what? Did I not do it right? Oh, there we go. Okay, so I guess the startup sequence stays white no matter what, but once they become solid, it's amber like it's supposed to be. And like I said, I only changed the passenger side. I left the driver side white so that we could see the difference. That definitely looks mean, but I think overall with my white wheels, the white DRL just makes sense. But if I threw on the black Apex wheels I have for this, I think the amber DRLs would look fantastic. It's a completely different vibe. Let me know what you guys think. Which ones would you go with? To finish things up, I'm gonna mount the camera inside the car and then we'll go for a quick drive, probably just down the street and back so you guys can see the light output in more of a real life scenario rather than just projected against the wall. We're gonna pull into this dead end street behind the shop here. only has a few street lights, not a very well lit area. So I'm gonna turn the headlights off. You can see pretty dark out here, can't see much. But now with the headlights on, look at how much light is projected down the street. I can see all the way clear to the end of the street, and I can see that the light is reflecting off the no parking sign down there. I don't know why there's a no parking sign down there, and I don't know how well the camera is picking it up, but this is a ridiculous amount of light that is being projected from these lights. I don't know if it's because there's 6 individual projectors or the LEDs that they use. It's probably a combination of both. But I feel like I can just see so much further down the road compared to the stock lights. I'm gonna just drive around a little bit more to show you guys how they look. Now I'm sure some people are gonna ask if these have the steering responsive headlight option. Unfortunately, if you guys have those steering responsive headlights and you install these, you're gonna lose that function. I don't think that there's going to be an aftermarket headlight that has the steering responsive function just because it's so expensive. But just driving these around, I noticed something that I had not noticed before. Let me pull back into the shop and take the camera off of the mount, and I can show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So these headlights do not have the steering responsive option, but let's say I turn the turn signal on and signal that I'm going left. Watch what happens on the left side. There's a light on the side of the headlight that lights up when you turn your turn signal on, whichever side. If I did it on the right side, it would light up over there. But now this side is lit up, and if I turn the turn signal off, it should turn off, just like that. I honestly had not noticed that before. I just noticed it while I was out driving now, but that is awesome. Let me hop out of the car and show you guys this. So turn the turn signal on, it's on. So there's a lot, well, this is gonna be super difficult to see. Let me turn this down so you guys can get a glimpse. So we've got the 6 individual projectors right there. There's the 6 of them, but there is also a smaller projector on the inner side right here. And let me turn the turn signal off and see if that turns off. Okay, so now that projector is off. I didn't know that was a feature. And that is gonna do it for today, guys. It's like 1 a.m. here, so I need to get going. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the comparison. I even learned something new, so I'm glad I went out and paid more attention, I guess. If you guys are wanting to pick up a set of these for yourself, or maybe some AlphaRex tail lights, a trunk light bar, or a 4th brake light, check out the links down in the description. If you have any questions whatsoever, comment down below. I'm always happy to help. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. If you are, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.